Okay, for some reason the video stopped, so we're going to have a part 1 and part 2, evidently. uh, so this is showing my side of the board here. We had turned it around to show Deanna what I had done, my strategy was.
You didn't even move these two.
I did not. I really only moved my airplane, which I was coming along the top here, and then straight down.
That was.
And my tank was coming this way. You took
that was my
out.
plan. I had one at the bottom and I had one at the top, and I got out here and I went, this is probably dumb. Let me go back and move these back and protect this, and then move those. Well, by the time I realized that you were already over there, and he put one in this spot, and I had a person on the other side, and it knocked me out. So on my turn, I stuck one right back in that same spot, and what did it do? It sat there. It did not knock it out. So, if you think these magnets are going to work all the time, apparently not.
No, that's now you're going to blame the game for not working. The magnets didn't work.
I like
what happened was, I'm pretty sure I had moved a piece a certain way. It was somewhere around here. And she, what I think is lost track of it by a space. And she moved, and she was saying, why isn't it working?
With the airplane. And so I moved my piece here down into the airplane spot. And over here, and then back, because it was like 3. So 1, 2, 3. And I couldn't, it was a tank, so I could only move in those 3
See areas. Where she's pointing?
I couldn't move onto the water. So
my airplane came from the top down, so it didn't matter what was below her headquarters. I didn't come from the bottom.
It is too much like Stratego and Battleship.
So
neither of which I am a fan of.
She didn't care for this game, I guess.
It seemed a little. There wasn't enough there for me to be all that excited about again.
I really liked it. It won't make my top 100 of all time, but I like this. I enjoyed this.
Don't ask me to rank this.
And it was as simple of a game as you could think. Here's how this works. You spin this spinner. Whatever comes up. Well, I think I mentioned this already, but just to go over how this works. So a 1, okay? So every piece moves exactly the same. It's just one space. You can move left, right, up, down, or diagonals, but the tanks have to stay on the ground, on the land here. So I wouldn't be able to take a tank and move it this direction, if I can get a hold of the thing, because that's water. So it can't go there. So it has to stay on the land. Now, as I mentioned before, the arrows on the board are bridges, so it could do that. And there are a few of these different, let's see, bridges. So you can, but tanks have to stay on the land, and the ships here have to stay on the water, so they can't go into the land spots. And then you have these airplanes, which. Are you fooling around with stuff on your side?
Me, never.
Let me put an airplane on the board. And the airplane can just move anywhere it wants to, because, of course, it's just flying overhead. So it doesn't have to respect the terrain. And that's it. If you notice that when you set up the board, it tells you a tank goes here. Okay, a ship goes here, an airplane goes here, your headquarters goes here, and all of your pieces have a place they start. The only exception is that you have an extra airplane, and you may put that airplane anywhere on your side. This is this red line, and then everything to the right. That's your starting setup, your starting side of the board. So you can place this airplane anywhere you want on that side. And so when I look over here on this side of the board, from this red line over, this is the starting side for my opponent. And so it also tells me exactly where their pieces start. So unless you start moving these around, I know where your pieces are. Everything can move except the headquarters. So I know the headquarters is there. Okay, and that's the game. Whoever you have in the very beginning of the game, both sides will spin this, and whoever gets the highest number is the spinner for the whole game. So Deanna was the high spinner for us. So on her turn, she would spin this. Then she would move her pieces 4. And you may move one piece all 4, or you can split that up how you want. Maybe I want to move one piece 2 and another piece 2, or I can move 4 pieces 1. That's up to you. You can do that how you want. And then when she's done moving her 4, and you have to put these in the exact hole, so that would be 1, 2. And if I were to attack and knock a piece out, I have to stop my movement. At that point, I'm done. She knows exactly where I am, and then on her turn, she could counterattack and come after me. But she would move her 4, and then I would move my 4, and then she would spin again, and that's the game. So it's very simple. The only thing that comes to mind for me is being able to trust the person you're playing with, because there's no way to know that the other person is following the rules over there.
Like I said, it's a great game if you don't want to see the person across from you. Which does limit your communication. So it's not going to be a highly involved game when it comes to talking and visiting, because this puts a block up against you. So if you're in it for the socialization of it all, this ain't going to be your game. Sorry, that's not proper English. It's going to be your game.
And as to my point about cheating on the other side, people who play Battleship, you've got the same issue. Somebody, as I miss, and they move their little ship around so that you can't prove it. That happened, huh?
I've never done that.
You see, I never have.
I've never done it either. I'm such an honest player, I guess.
Don't play Battleship with her.
No, I've never done it, but I might now. No, I don't like Battleship that well.
Well, I've heard of other people doing that. Usually it's stories I've heard about a brother and an older brother. I never could beat my older brother. And then I found out 20 years later he was always cheating. So there's something that, unless you wanted to play with, if you had maybe 4 people, and then one person could sit on the other. You'd have 2 people on each side, and you only have 2 people playing, but the other person is making sure that you're not cheating for the other side. But no, 3 would mean you would only have 2 people on one side, 1 person on the other. No, you'd have to have 2. Well, they'd have to move back and forth. That would be a pain. Anyway, this is a game from the 60s. I forget. Let's see if I can.
It's by Transagram.
Yes, by Transagram. Company that has stood the test of time, huh? Looking here at the instructions, and the back here. Let's see. Copyright. Oh, it's in the. It's in that fun MCM LXII. So. Well, I don't recognize, the XII, yeah, I get that. Anyway, let's see if I can figure this out.
What is it again?
1962, I'm going to guess. I'm guessing, because...
Is it L?
It's MCM LXII, so the L is 50.
Yeah, that's 62.
62, so 1962... 1962. All right, we took too long to figure out when this was done. So a 1962 board game. What is neat about it is this is nice, strong, sturdy plastic. Nowadays everything is in cardboard, but back then they used to do. They were very creative and weren't afraid to use lots and lots of plastic. And like I said, this is a huge board.
This is very thick.
Well, hey, 62. The game's still here. There you go.
In good shape.
Yeah, very sturdy, Very heavy. Now this comes apart into 2 pieces to fit back in the box, but what a monster box. So I liked this one. Well, what rating would you give this?
Yeah, I told you don't ask me to rate it.
Will you?
It ranks right down there with Stratego. So you just rate it, and we'll go with your rating.
You give it a rating too. I gave that one a 1. I gave one of these games a 1. What was it? Dice Realms. So
I give this maybe a 2.
A 2.
Maybe a 2.
Okay. Let's see.
But then I don't like 2-dimensional thinking. I don't like chess. Don't like checkers. Don't like Stratego.
I would probably.
I'm not a big Battleship fan.
I'd probably give this one an 8.
Wow. No. I like.
It's kind of like
Chopper Strike better than that one.
It's. I want to say it's sort of like chess in a way. A chess you can't see. I know that in chess the pieces all have different kinds of movements. In this case, the pieces all have the same movements, but you have this terrain which constricts the movement of the piece rather than the piece being able to move. I mean, it's kind of the opposite. The chessboard, there's nothing about the board that restricts movement. It's kind of the opposite here. A little bit of kind of like a hidden chess. I think it has that kind of an element, a strategy. And if you played this more, maybe you would come up with different kinds of strategies. Okay, I played a defensive game with my guys. Let me flip this back around. Oh, you destroyed one of them.
I did. I destroyed your side.
I don't know what it was now. I do. It was a ship because I just moved it down.
That's what I do.
Okay, so I had that here, and then I had a tank right there. Okay. So I played a defensive strategy here while I was moving a tank along this line, which got destroyed, and then I had an airplane coming this way and then straight down, which was successful. So it was kind of a defensive and offensive game, but I would imagine that the more you played and the more you figured out how your opponent plays, just like in Stratego, you have to adjust your strategy. So in this case, you can attack diagonally. So I don't have this perfectly defended. And let me think, if she had brought, say, an airplane or a ship down this way and took this one out, I don't have a piece here that I can move. This tank can't get over there. And while the airplane can go wherever it wants, it can't fly over pieces or over spaces. So suppose the spinner was only a 2 or a 3. I can only go 1, 2, 3. I can't get to the 4th one to stop it. So depending on what, and if the spinner's a 1, there's no way this plane can get over here. So the more you play, the more you may be able to figure out this is what my opponent does. Okay, so I've lost a game because of that. So I'm going to have to change what I do over here. Maybe a total defensive strategy might be an idea. I use all my pieces to fill in and kind of stick in this area and take out the offense. And then once most of those pieces are gone, then I make a mad dash for the other side with an airplane or something like that. And so just like Stratego, there's no one optimal setup that works every single time, because as you figure out the other player's strategy, you have to change. They're figuring out your strategy, and nothing is ever perfect. So constantly changing. And this was such an easy game to learn, quick to play. I could see if I had an opponent that enjoyed this game, that we could play 3, 4, 5 games at a time and pull this out time and time again. And I really enjoyed this one. Strategic Command. There we have it.